Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to our Spring Budget Breakfast 2023 event. For those that haven't met me before, I'm Jason Fayers, Managing Partner of Scrutton Bland. Our theme this year is a celebration of some of the iconic things that make Britain great, in recognition of the up-and-coming coronation of King Charles III. Whatever your views on the monarchy, this will be the first coronation in over 70 years and a milestone in the history of our country. And to mark the occasion to celebrate the event, we're looking forward to a long weekend in May. So thank you all for joining us today, whether that's in person or online. It's great to be back hosting the event in person. Can you believe that our last in-person event was back in 2019? Our 2020 Budget Breakfast event was moved online just 36 hours beforehand due to the sudden changes and the worldwide reaction to the coronavirus pandemic in March 2020. The rest is history, and I'm sure none of us want to dwell on the difficult times that followed. Being able to speak to so many face-to-face definitely feels overdue, and to see so many people here today is fantastic. We have over 235 people here in person, and we are streaming to a further 260 people or so. Those in the room have just enjoyed breakfast from the team here at Trinity Park, and I hope everybody at home has a hot drink in front of them to enjoy a briefing this morning. We're delighted to deliver our insights and analysis today following the budget announcements yesterday from the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Jeremy Hunt, his first full budget since his appointment in October last year. We didn't anticipate yesterday's statement to make as great an impact as his predecessor, Kwasi Kwarteng's package of measures did last September, but rather to create just a few ripples. Jeremy Hunt is only the second of the last 5 chancellors to make it to the budget holding the famous red case outside number 11 Downing Street. The only other was, of course, Rishi Sunak, who's now moved into number 10. But that's quite a shocking statistic, isn't it, that 3 out of our last 5 chancellors were not in post long enough to present a budget as a high-ranking member of the British Cabinet. So what were we expecting from yesterday? Well, the markets have calmed after Liz Truss's brief appointment as Prime Minister, but we know there have been many planned strikes this week in transport, health, education and the civil service, all of which shows that Britain's cost of living crisis is increasing and is making people poorer and angrier. Many were hoping to see announcements to provide additional support to get people through this time. But it's fair to say that since Jeremy Hunt made his appointment, his autumn statement in November, the short-term prospects for growth and public finances have improved. We appear to have narrowly avoided a recession in the second half of 2022, and consumer spending has held up better than anticipated despite the cost of living squeeze. The Institute for Fiscal Studies has estimated that borrowing this year and next will be 30 billion less than previously forecast, and coupled with falling energy prices and higher than expected tax revenues, the economic outlook is perhaps less bleak than it was 6 months ago. On the other hand, the Bank of England and the International Monetary Fund have been talking of mid-term challenges facing the British economy. In particular, post-Brexit trade barriers continue to cause havoc in certain sectors and parts of the economy. The size of the workforce has not recovered from the pandemic, with over 50s needing to return to work to plug the gap. And the rise in interest rates after a sustained period of them being close to zero causes uncertainty and sensitivity. These medium-term prospects will no doubt have had an effect on the future predictions and budgeting on public spending and our taxes. Remember, though, that a general election will be with us by sometime before the 25th of January 2025. That's not far away. So there is, some may say, limited scope for the Conservative government to perhaps get the economy to a point ready to face the public vote. So back to yesterday's budget. What was announced and what will it mean for you and your business? Were the predictions right? I'm delighted to announce our speakers this year. We start with Luke Morris, our corporate finance partner, who will provide his insight and interpretation of the economy, the cost of living crisis, and long-lasting effects of Brexit and the pandemic. After that, we'll hear from Graham Doubtfire, our private client tax partner, looking at individuals and how they will be affected, including the new pension changes. Then we'll listen to Sam Stent, one of our senior tax advisors, who will be going into more detail about capital taxes and business tax issues. Then Chris George, Tax Advisory Director, who will be discussing research and development and other tax incentives for businesses. And then it's back to me for corporate tax matters. So, without further ado, let me hand over to Luke Morris to kick off this morning's presentations.